feel I ought to address one of the points I made in the last video. And it's to do with the argument that this reality is somehow more real because certain physical laws apply. People don't go flying through the air under their own power and all the rest of it. Things seem to have a bit more continuity. They don't morph one thing into the other and all the rest of it like we have in dreams. And we'd say this is what characterises the waking state. But who knows, sometimes physicists postulate, could there be any other sort of physical laws? Could there be a universe without physical laws? Could there be universes with some physical laws, like ours, and other different kinds of physical laws? Well, the answer is obviously yes, of course, and this is what we experience in our dream. There are different states of consciousness, or what we should call different states of cognition. You can cognize things in different modes. If you're an astral traveller, you'll be travelling to the far reaches of different realities. Some might say that's simply imagination. But then, why needn't the imagination be just as real as anything else? That's prejudice, discrimination. Perhaps you might experience yourself without a body, without even a subtle body, but as pure light. There are infinite varieties of cognition, infinite modes of being. And we like to discriminate and say that one mode might be more real than another. We might want to say the consensus reality is most real. What the scientific consensus is, that's real. Or some people might say the cultural consensus is what's real. And some people might say, well, this person that communicates with the spirits, that is real. So there are all these different modes of reality, different laws, different physical laws, different cultural laws apply, and you take your pick. You take your pick as to what is real, and each reality will insist that it's the real one. But how do you choose? How do you decide which reality is the real one? The scientific reality is the one that's remotest from our experiencing, and yet that's the one that many will insist is the true one, which is quite strange. But what about the reality of poetry, of art, of love, of jealousy? What about these realities? Some people would think that the only reality is a legal reality. Some people think in terms of legalistic terms. And so it goes. So Vasishta was talking about the infinite potentiality of consciousness. And it's this infinite potentiality that gives rise to all these realities. It gives rise to diversity of creatures. Gives rise to you, me, everybody else, all other sentient beings, animals and insects. They've all got their reality. And perhaps even insentient things like rocks and so on, because they're also aspects of consciousness. Rama asked, you described that there were countless creations. You said that they were inhabited by diverse beings with very different natures and functions. Pray tell me, among all of them, how this creation exists. Now, Ram is once again giving the conventional point of view, that it's actually just one creation that we're all experiencing in different ways. Well, you can certainly look at it that way. This actually takes us to the same point. It's the one thing. But all we're doing is pointing out that this one thing is actually consciousness. This is the world which is being experienced in different ways. The scientists will tell us that all we experience is a model of reality, and the reality itself can never be directly known. Well, this is very mystical, isn't it? This is exactly the nature of consciousness. Consciousness can never be known directly. It can never be something that can be known. It's what is doing the knowing. It is everything. This is the reality. Vasishta replied, while expounding whatever has not been experienced before, nor seen, nor even heard of before, and this is consciousness, the teacher resorts to appropriate illustrations with the aid of which the truth is grasped and inferred. However, you know the nature of this universe. There actually aren't all these diverse creatures. There's only this one universe. It's the one that's happening right here, right now. Everything else is hypothetical, conjecture, induction, deduction. We don't need to be concerned with any of that. Realize what is right now as total reality. The one infinite Brahman alone exists, without beginning and end, without form and without change. In the infinite space which is permeated by Brahman, this universe exists not different from Brahman. And we could say that Brahman is the infinite space, as we heard in the previous video. The universe too is beginningless and endless. This universe is what the infinite consciousness considers it to be within itself, whatever it experiences within itself. And the infinite consciousness itself considers that experience to be the universe. Hence it is illusory, like the dream object of one who is dreaming. Consciousness imbues whatever it's experiencing with the sense of reality, that this is how things are. The mountains are not hard, nor are waters fluid. These are experiences. Hardness is an experience. It's not something that belongs to the mountain. It's something we associate with the mountain. Fluidity of water is something we experience. It's got nothing to do with water. It's us that experiences the fluidity of water, not the water. Whatever the infinite consciousness considers itself to be, and wherever that appears to be so there. A mountain arises in a dream and exists in nothing and as nothing. And the mountain in a dream will be solid, it will be hard, it will be mighty, but it's nothing. Even so is this universe, for it is a dream of the infinite consciousness. Brahman alone exists as Brahman at all times. Nothing is created, nor is anything destroyed. There is no diversity in Brahman, nor is there non-diversity in it. All concepts like unity, diversity, truth, falsehood, etc. are irrelevant to it. Just like objects arising in space are irrelevant to the space itself, and yet we could say the space becomes these objects.